a very warm welcome for you to come to Cordon Bleu today. My name is Freddie. I'm a student liaison executive here at Le Cordon Bleu. I used to be a student here some time ago. I'm a pastry chef myself, a boulangerie as well. Worked as a pastry chef, then after that, come back to Cordon Bleu, to promote the program here. Welcome. Good afternoon, please. No problem. We're just about to start, please. Yes, please. Have a seat anywhere. Thank you very much. Any more people coming? All right. Le Cordon Bleu is the world-leading network of culinary and hospitality institutes, and we are proud to carry a legacy that spans over 130 years. Founded in Paris in 1875, Le Cordon Bleu has grown into a global family of more than 35 schools and 20 countries, including campuses in Madrid, Istanbul, Tokyo, Australia. We have 3 campuses up there, New Zealand, Peru, Brazil, and many more, and of course, the campus in London. This year is a particularly special one for us, as we celebrate 130 years of culinary excellence. It's a moment to reflect on our heritage, but also to look ahead of how we continue to shape the future of gastronomy, patisserie, hospitality, and culinary arts. Here at Le Cordon Bleu London campus, we offer extensive portfolios of programs, whether you're just starting out or looking for advance your skills, or we have something for everyone, from short courses, professional courses, certificates, diplomas, degrees program. Our areas of study include cuisine, patisserie, plant-based, wine, nutrition. Please, welcome. Culinary management and more. As part of 130 years of anniversary celebrations, we are thrilled to relaunch an exciting new program, the Diploma in Pâtisserie Innovation. This course has been designed to meet the evolving demands of the modern pastry world. It focuses on creative techniques, recipe design, and the science behind flavor and texture, as well as innovation and trends that are shaping the future of patisserie. It's a program for those who not only want to master classic pastry skills, but also push boundaries and experiment with modern approaches. To give you a taste of what this course is all about, we have our pastry department, pastry team here, led by Chef Julie, and also Chef Jean-Francois and Chef Marco. They have prepared a special demonstration today called Citrus Garden. You have the recipe with you on your desk. This presentation will focus both technical precision and artistic creativity, highlighting how innovation and tradition come together in today's pastry world. We hope you enjoy the demo and it inspires you in your own culinary journey. Before I pass the mic to Chef Julie, we have water at the back. Please help yourself. And the bathroom will be on the left-hand corner, basically, if you need to use it. And I hope you enjoy the demo and also try to engage. If you have any questions to the chefs here, please raise out your hand and they will try to answer all your queries or, everything basically. All right? Oh, we have more people. Please come in. Thank you. Chef Julie, should we give a round of applause to Chef Julie and the team? Chef.
Thank you, everybody. We haven't done anything yet, so don't clap too much. Hopefully it will be something to clap about at the end. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for giving up your evening. I feel weird standing over there. Don't do that. It's on the wrong side of the bench. I don't like it. First of all, thank you very much for giving up your Friday nights. I'm sure we've lost a few people because the weather's really good. But this evening, as Freddie has explained, we're kind of launching our 130th anniversary celebrations. And this morning we took part in a chef's conference, which was live streamed. So that was interesting. We had 4 very high profile chefs with us. And I'm sure if you wanted to catch that online, it's available to download and play. You can watch that. But it was a really interesting conversation about innovation in the 21st century. Now, most of us on the panel had more years than I'd like to say under our belt as pastry chefs. And Chef John Francois, too, has a lot of years under his belt. Don't you, Chef? Yes, he does. Over 20, right? Yeah, it's over 20, but he just wants to say 20. And we've been head chefs in hotels and restaurants, transitioning into culinary education. And passion, I guess, is to pass knowledge through students and see how they're doing. So we're both very lucky to have students that have gone out in the industry and are now making a name for themselves. This year, we wanted to do something really special to celebrate our 130-year anniversary. So for the Cordon Bleu, we teach techniques. We teach classic techniques because, as we discussed in our seminar today, unless you know the classic techniques, you don't understand how ingredients react when they're put together, and you don't understand how to substitute and replace ingredients. So we had a really interesting conversation about how important those building blocks of patisserie knowledge are. And that's what we teach every day. Our basic students learn how to cut things by hand. They learn how to mix things by hand, much to their disappointment. They do use machinery later, but initially they do things by hand. So the chefs today are going to be doing some things by hand, some on the machine. Our students, once they've done those basics and they've learned the very basic skills, are then able to start creating their own creations from scratch. So on superior level, the students start to build their own ideas and develop their own concepts based on the knowledge they have with us. Now, to make things truly unique and truly special and truly one of a kind, they have to understand how to take apart the recipe and rebuild it to create their profile that they're after. We started looking at this course probably about 4 years ago, when the industry was saying to us, you know, it's brilliant that you teach the techniques and that they're solid on those techniques, but it'd be really good if they could come with more concepts and more ideas into the field. So we started from that point and we worked backwards and said, okay, where our students finish on superior level, what do they need to do now to go into industry and be confident and competent to be able to create from scratch dishes? Anybody can take a recipe and say, I'm going to take this out and put that in. Has anybody done that at home where they've said, oh, there's a chocolate chip cookie recipe, I'm going to make that into a plain cookie, and it's gone horribly wrong? We have a lot of students who do that a lot of times. Okay, and it is because they don't understand the premise of why that cocoa powder was there. It's not just a flavoring, it's a dry ingredient. So the innovation program is concentrating on building recipes from scratch. Rather than adapting a recipe you already have, it's about looking at the dry extract, the wet ingredients, the raising agents, the leaveners, all of the things which function within your recipes, and knowing how to take that out and replace it with something else without having disastrous results, because most pastry chefs don't like to throw things in the bin. So today we're looking at a range of recipes. We've made something pretty because, you know, it's almost summer, almost. And we've kind of paired floral notes, floral tones with a little bit of pepper for spiciness and some citrus. So our flavor profile should be nice and alive and fresh. The important thing is that we've reduced a large quantity of dairy products. Except for in the sablé. So in the mousse, you know, usually you would include cream, you'd include perhaps eggs in there as well. So we're trying to lighten those recipes and make them healthier, make them more flavoursome, more, I guess, not healthier, but cleaner on the palate. You know, you want something that you're really singing with flavour without being clogged down by dairy products. So we've formulated the recipes today, which is the very first step on our Pâtisserie Innovation programme. So we teach students how to break down recipes, how to look at dry extracts, wet extracts, and how to replace them. So we're going to start with the recipes, and Chef Jean-Francois is going to start with the base of the recipe. So most pastry chefs don't make things straightforward. We kind of jump around a little bit. So we're going to explain to you what Chef Jean's doing. He's making a creamy or a crema middle, and crème, yeah, with a French accent. So in English, it's a creamy, which explains it a bit better than a crema, because not many people know what that is. And he's going to explain to us why we're making this crema versus a traditional, and what is taken out and what is added in. And then we're going to switch over, and Chef Marco is going to jump in, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about our crispy layer that's going to go inside. And then when they're sort of done, I'll jump in and look at the decorations, the pretty stuff. Okay, if you have questions, put your hand up. If we don't see, just keep your hand up. I'll get to you eventually. I will see. And again, there's no fire alarm. So if the fire alarm goes off, it's Chef John setting the alarm off, and we'll need to evacuate. And our nearest evacuation point is on that door there. We're not planning one, so hopefully it'll be fine. Chef John, are you ready? Hello, Oliver. Do you want the mic?
Can you hear me? No? Yes? Yeah. Maybe I don't need this. I need it. Okay, I need it. Okay, take it. Okay. Okay, so the crémeux basically is a component of your entremet or petit gâteau, which is the very creamy part. Let's say when we assemble an entremet, a petit gâteau, a dessert in general, we like to have a nice contrast of texture. Okay, so this part is a creaminess part. So it's very important when you scoop it with a spoon to get like if you scoop butter, room temperature butter, so very, very nice creamy texture. Traditionally, the crémeux is done with eggs and also butter. Yes, French pastry is mainly based on butter. So the butter gives you the creaminess, gives you the texture. Okay, so today we trick a little bit the recipe. So this is a kind of recipe where the student will be involved. They will basically look at different criteria into the recipe. We are looking at the crémeux in terms of gelation. Okay, so that means you need enough component to set your crémeux, and then also the crémeux is an emulsion, so usually an emulsion of fat and water. Okay, so today I remove the butter, I remove every dairy, but I'm going to substitute the dairy fat with coconut today. Okay, alors, what is very important when you look at recipe development is to make your water, which is inside your product, to be stable. You don't want to have this kind of process where when you freeze your entremet, most of the time in production, you need to freeze your entremet. You make a large production of entremet, then you freeze your entremet, you defrost your entremet, and you don't want during the defrosting to have what we call a syneresis. That means the water coming out from your entremet. Okay, so it's very important to bend the water inside the recipe. That's why if you look at the recipe, you will see an ingredient called flax fiber. So we are going to add fiber, flax fiber today, which is a product, flaxseed fiber. So this product gonna help us to absorb the moisture and to create a kind of web inside the kind of matrix inside the recipe to hold the texture. We also look at the DE content, which is very important for us. That means the dry extract. That means the dry matter into your recipe, the dry component into the recipe. So the student will go through the recipe, and for example, they will define the dry content of the mango puree, because today it's an exotic citrus recipe. So they will look at the dry matter, for example, for the mango puree, the dry component matter for the passion fruit, coconut, which is full of dry matter, flexi fiber. So all these kind of things will be taught during the class. Enough speaking. Let's process the recipe. So you will see. Alors, if you are familiar with a crémeux, it's a long process. Usually, you cook your fruit puree with eggs and sugar. Then after, you need to cool it down to a certain temperature, usually 35 degrees, in order to add the butter, but do not melt the butter to keep the creaminess of the butter. And usually, you have a little bit gelatin inside. If you look at this recipe, it could be nearly a vegan recipe because there's no eggs inside. I've got a little bit gelatin, fish gelatin inside. But we could trick it. So instead of gelatin, actually, I could put pectin. If you know the pectin, we could use pectin. So eventually, I can recalculate. I could do another calculation with this recipe with only pectin instead of gelatin. Okay, so how to do it? It's very simple. Actually, it's much more easy than a classic recipe. So here you just need a jug and a mixer. It's fantastic. You don't need a pan. You don't need to eat anything. Here you have your fruit puree. Alors today it's mango puree and passion fruit. A little bit passion fruit. There's a lot of puree. You will see the mango puree is 65% in a recipe. Passion fruit is only 10%. So we got a lot of fruit. It's an expensive recipe maybe, but it's very clean taste. That means you don't have the milk or a fat making changing the flavor profile of your fruit, basically. Okay. Also, very important process is you don't eat. That means, most of the time when you process a crémeux, you need to warm the puree, you need to warm the fruit. In that case, I don't need to heat at all my fruit puree. My fruit puree is at room temperature, so I don't need to heat and eventually to lose the flavor. Okay, so here I've got my puree mixed together, and I'm going to add the fiber. So the fiber, which I'm going to bind a little bit, absorb a little bit the moisture. Okay, so usually we always mix the fiber to have an easy mixing with a little amount of sugar. Okay, so we got a very tiny amount of sugar in this recipe. We've got only 5% sugar in the recipe. So well, it's very it could be nearly sugar-free. So I always mix my fibers with sugar. Okay, and I'm going to blend this with my puree. Alors, you need, let's say, a good minute, maybe 2 good minutes mixing, at least 1 good minute to make sure your fiber are nicely well dissolved. And after, you need to leave it, let's say, a few minutes to rest in order for the fiber to absorb the moisture. All right, let's go. So this part gonna be the center of my petit gâteau, not mine. Oh, petit gâteau, house petit gâteau. It's okay. Do you want mine?
Is that it? Oh my God, yes, it works. I thought you said it wasn't working. Yeah, so as I was saying, chef's using this black fiber, which is pre-made product. But you could use white flax seeds, hydrate the puree, and then blend that in. I would sieve it after blending because it's usually quite gritty. And that will do the same. It's the is an egg alternative, so it gives you a kind of viscous texture and a bit of mouthfeel, which is always good. Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, so already blend nicely the fibers with the puree. So actually, the texture is already getting a little bit thicker. Okay, and now I need to add my setting agent, which are the coconut fat, because the coconut fat is gonna set below 27 degrees. So usually the temperature to add the coconut, you don't want to add the coconut, the melted coconut, too cold. You don't want the coconut to set too quickly in your product. So usually are mixed between 25, 27 degrees in general. So you melt your coconut fat nicely on a water bath like this. And then after you got the gelatin. Okay, so what we do most of the time, the chef, and we like to make a gelatin mass. So basically, we hydrate the gelatin with water. In this recipe, you got 5% water to hydrate 1 gram of gelatin. So you got only 1%, not 1 gram, sorry, 10 gram of gelatin. So you got 1% gelatin in this recipe only. Usually the setting for this kind of recipe is between 1.5% in general. So I could go higher eventually if the creamer is too soft after a test. What you have to know is most of the time you work on a whiteboard to calculate your recipe, but you need to try. There's always a trial to control and to check everything goes well. Okay, so the fat is melted, the coconut is melted. I'm going to dissolve my gelatin mass. Okay, so the gelatin mass, voila, as usual, you add the cold water with the gelatin powder. You leave it for, let's say, around 10 minutes aside. Okay, for to bloom your gelatin. And I'm going now to dissolve the gelatin into the fat, in the coconut. Okay.
So we're adding gelatin because we're setting it. That's the only reason. It doesn't have to be there. So if you don't like to have gelatin in your diet, fish gelatin in this instance, and you wanted to serve this in a glass, you could serve it in a glass, but this is going to be self-supporting. So it needs gelatin to keep it up and keep it firm enough to hold.
I'm going to heat a little. I just want to melt the gelatin. And what is important here is just a small temperature. Voilà. Ideally 27 degrees before to mix gelatin coconut with the puree. Okay? Approximately.
So while this program we're talking about today, the Pâtisserie Innovation, is not plant-based, we do have a separate plant-based diploma. A lot of these recipes, there's a lot of crossover in what we do on both programs. So the science is the same, whether it's in this, the emulsion. This is on and off.
Okay, I've got it. It's perfectly melted. Okay.
Nice.
What would you add instead of gelatin to make it?
We can use a pectin.
Pectin.
Pectin, yeah,
pectin.
Is a good suggestion. It's gonna be the same ratio. I mean, basically, when we look at the setting, it's 1 to 1.5% in a recipe approximately.
Yes,
Usually,
it's a percent than a gram weight. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 1 to 1 point.
Yeah.
And in terms of flax, how much in terms of replacing, like in other recipes, replacing eggs?
Normally, you would make a flax mash. Sounds, but it's a hydration of flaxseed with water. I normally leave mine at least half an hour, and then I pass it. And then you would use, it's usually 1 tablespoon, which is 15 grams per egg. And then you add a little bit of extra liquid in there as well.
Is 15 grams dry or 15 grams?
Flax, the mash. Hydrate. It's going to hydrate. If it's 15 grams of flax, it'll be 15 grams of water. And it gives Yeah, the gelatin. Just agar. Tin is your best option. When we look at this course especially, we look at the agents and we look at the final texture. So for example, gelatin is elastic, we know that. Pectin is similar. It has some but it's not as elastic as gelatin. Agar agar is crunchy. It's there's no elasticity, and it can be gel, but it's not elastic at all. So when you're making mousses and things that say on the palate, it's not nice on the palate. Sometimes you can mix it, you know, so you can mix different things together, you know, maybe a little guar gum, a little bit of agar agar, and that will give you a similar texture. There's lots of options out there. I mean, we've researched a lot.
All right, the
Go on, Jeff.
temperature is good. I got 27.
Eventually.
Okay. So now I'm going to add it into the puree. And I'm going to blend nicely to homogenize everything.
So the blending is emulsion. So Chef's making an emulsion here because he's got the coconut oil. So our purees are water-based. The coconut oil doesn't necessarily want to blend with that. So if you're doing it by hand, be prepared to mix quite a lot to get a full emulsion. It's not like butter. So, you know, if you were doing this a traditional way and you put the butter in, you don't blend it enough, when it sets, you've suddenly got butter chunks. This one, it will just be grease streaks.
Well, it's important, the hand blender is very important. It's a very
We love the hand blender. Yep.
Here we go.
The only reason we use caster sugar is it's flavorless. And we're able to reduce the amount so much that it's negligible. If we were Rapadura color.
Finished.
Sorry.
Finished. So now I'm going to set this creamer whatever I want to. I'm going to use a small alpha sphere mold because the design we need today it's alpha sphere mold. You will see later the full design, the complete full design. But I'm just going to add my creamer into a piping bag.
What we're doing with this is we're going to set it and then something else. We could use this in a glass if we wanted to serve it as a fresh fruits on top. Or you could use any mold of choice. Obviously, the setting time is appropriate to the size of the mold you're using.
And we're just going to pipe. So the mold today is a 2.5 cm diameter for this assembly. Alpha sphere mold. And now I'm going to go to the freezer to set well this creamer for later. It's very simple. I mean, if you are used to make creamer, usually it's quite easy process. You don't need too many tools. It's quite a fast process. I can show you eventually the final result quickly. We can have a look at the creamer already prepared before. So I've got one sample here. Just prepare this just before the demonstration. So this is the creamer. So this one was in a ring. It's just to demonstrate, to show you the texture. Do you want a small spoon, maybe a wooden spoon, just to see the texture? Merci, Marco. Just one, yeah. Okay, so here, voilà, we got this nice creamy texture. Now this, it's whole well the shape, okay? So you hold nicely your shape, and it's nicely creamy. Yeah. Another one here. You can see under the camera, maybe, yes, I'm not sure. Yeah. Like this, where you have still a clean cut, huh? Still hold nicely the shape, and you got very creamy texture. Okay, we're gonna test it later. Voilà. Okay, so now I'm going to leave my creamer to set. We are going to see with Chef Marco for the dacquoise, okay, and I'll come back later for the mousse, okay, which is the easiest mousse in the world. Okay.
The easiest mousse in the world. They all say that.
Okay.
So, as Chef was saying, this recipe is the kind of recipe we'd use on the Pâtisserie Innovation program. It is its course by any means. It is about less sugar, fat, and looking at historically, we had a discussion this morning. Historically, recipes were made with fat, eggs, butter, in lots, and sugar in vast quantities. And that was what everybody expected, and we all know dessert is an indulgence. We know that. But these days, customers are demanding alternatives. They want something that is low sugar. They want something that's no fat or reduced fat. They want something that has a real punch of flavor without being heavy and, bad for them. So, we've developed lots of recipes. The one that Chef just showed you is nice and low fat, which is great. The next one has, this is a traditional dacquoise recipe, which it's a combination of things. It's it's a selection of nuts which are roasted and blended, and then it's folded through a meringue. We could have made this plant-based by using aquafaba or pea to make the meringue, but right, Chef? Yeah. You got the mic?
Yeah, much better now. Hi, how are you today? We're going to do the dacquoise. It's going to be one of our first crispy layer. In this recipe, we have three kind of nuts. Hazelnut, almond, and pistachio. We did toasted this one for 7 minutes at 165 degrees. The reason we want this one to toast is just to block, have a nice texture and nice flavor inside. What we're going to do now with this one, we're going to blitz everything together. Not too thin. The reason we don't want to blitz this one too thin, because if we over blitz this one, inside the nuts there is a lot of oil. Inside the oil, our dacquoise is going to be quite liquidy, and we don't want that.
Do you want to answer?
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah.
So a dacquoise is a nut meringue, which is dried. So it could be classed as a sponge because it has flour in it. Some purists are totally against that, but it does have egg whites for aeration. It does have fat in the form of the nuts, and it does have flour. So technically, it is a sponge. You're not going to hit me, are you? It's usually the French that say it's not a sponge, but it's used in. So, for example, if we had the dacquoise, we could cook it and then layer it, and to make it a celebration cake, for example. We're going to put it at the bottom of the mousse as a little interesting texture. So it gives us a kind of chewy, little bit crisp, but not crunchy, and not soft like a sponge. So it's textural more than anything else, and it's used a lot in France. It's very.
It's originally a biscuit from the west of France, so near the Spanish border, the southwest of France, and usually, traditionally, we had a lot of sugar on the top to make it crispy. So nowadays we skip this because it's too sweet, so we remove this. But voila, it's got a lot of nut. You can make a dacquoise with different type of nut, usually almond, but it can be hazelnut, pistachio, walnut. It can be a blend, like today, a blend of nuts. Yep. And the aeration is very important to get a nice meringue. That's Chef Marco is going to demonstrate. Right?
Yeah. We are going to blitz this one, all the nuts together with the rubber cup.
So the nuts have been roasted and cooled at this point. Okay, then it's important that they're cold. Otherwise, you'll end up making a nut paste, which is another class.
We have also a little bit more. We don't want super fine this one. We want also a little bit of crunchiness. So when we bite in our entremet, it's gonna be like a little bit of flavor from all the nuts inside. We have the perfect consistency now. All our almond, hazelnut, and pistachio are be blended. We're gonna add in here. In the recipe, as you can see, we have three kinds of sugar. We have icing sugar, we have caster sugar, and we have also light brown sugar. The caster sugar, the light brown sugar, we're gonna use for the French meringue. The icing sugar, the flour, is gonna be mixed with the nuts now. We're gonna sift the flour and the icing sugar together. The reason we use icing sugar because it's much better in this case. It's already fine. We have a nice powder. We are able to mix this one properly. If we have too much caster sugar here, the crystal inside the sugar is gonna make this one too crispy, and we don't want that.
So generally, when you're using icing sugar in baked products, it helps with moisture retention. So it keeps it moist for longer, which is what we're crispy on top, but nice and chewy inside, and that moisture from the nuts rather than drying them out.
We have our mix of the nuts, flour, icing sugar all together, being well coated. This one, we're gonna leave this one on the side, and we're gonna start with our French meringue. This French meringue also in the recipe is addition of albumin to make this one a little bit more stable. We already mix.
Go on. You said it, so chef called it albumin. Okay, so on the recipe it's powdered egg.
Yeah.
You can buy this. There's quite a few companies, even the local supermarkets sell it. And all it does is it just concentrates the strength of the albumin in the egg white so that when you whisk it, it's less likely to become foamy and broken.
We're gonna add, we already have the dry egg powder inside on the egg white.
Safety measure more than anything else.
Yes.
I always have it in my cupboard in case I run out of egg whites, just in case.
We're gonna whip this one now at a soft peak before we adding our sugar inside.
So chef's doing this by machine. You could do it by hand if you wanted. Meringue is to make whisk, grease, there's no residue, and is making a bend. When you take your whisk out, it holds up and does that. I'm sure chef will show you that in a minute.
Now we have a soft peak meringue. We can able to see, we call soft peak because the peak here is not able to be stable on the top. It is what we want before we adding the sugar inside. Now we're gonna add the sugar. I already mix the caster sugar and the light brown together. Be careful. If there is any lumps of light brown, destroy with the finger. It's really important. We don't want to create any lump of sugar inside the meringue. It's really good to have this kind of aeration before we add in the sugar. The reason is we don't want to add the sugar straight away in the egg white. Otherwise, the egg white is not really able to make a nice and foamy meringue.
So the addition of that light brown sugar for colour. sugar. So that helps with the caramelized flavour in those nuts. You could make it without. If you don't have that, you could literally omit it. Just put the same amount of white sugar in, caster sugar, and it will work. It's just going to be a lot paler.
Now we are going to whip the meringue as a stable thick. I'm going to take the bowl.
I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
Big one more.
Yeah. In this particular case, we don't need an Italian meringue. We don't want something really stiff, but because the Italian meringue, as you know, is made with the syrup, 180, 116, 118 degrees, we call soft bowl. In this case, it's not necessary. We're gonna have a nice reaction here, and we're gonna spread this one on a mat. We're gonna use our tray. If you don't have the syrup and mat, you can use also oven paper. It's completely fine. And now you can see we have a really nice peak. It's stable now. Now we can combine the flour, the nuts, the icing sugar with our French meringue.
What we're trying to do is form a stable air throughout the meringue. The faster your machine goes, the more likely you are to throw the mixture around the edge of the bowl, and that becomes dehydrated. The ideal is, according to your mixer, have it all in the base of the bowl and not be moving up the sides. So for mine, I use at home is about number 5. This one I think is about number 7.
Yeah.
But it's electrolyte, so it's a different speed level.
We are going to incorporate our dry ingredient in the meringue from the bottom to the top in a nice motion like this, because we don't want to destroy all the meringue. As you can see, I'm adding the dry ingredient a little bit at a time. I didn't put all the meringue inside because I want to finish with the meringue, just in case there is any lumps of dry ingredient inside. Last part. Thank you so much, Chef. And now I can finish to put all the rest of my meringue inside. Our nice and soft aquas is ready to be spread on the mat. We're going to use all the recipe for this one because we want something thick. We're going to spread this one at 1 centimeter high. Thank you, Chef. Really kind of you.
As his oven put this into a nice hot oven. And, it's going to take about 17, 18 minutes to cook. It's not a long cook.
even when we work with the spatula, we don't want to work too much the mix here. The reason is we don't want to lose all the aeration from the meringue.
So although we're going to use this flat, you can actually roll this like a roulade, and it's quite nice with chestnuts, chocolate. There we go. Put that in your folder for Christmas.
We are ready to go in the oven with this one. I just cleaned my border. I'm going inside the oven.
Chef's got his timer on.
Oh, you have already your timer? Okay.
I already got mine.
Okay.
Always have my timer
Okay.
with me.
Oh, that's why we put the timer on.
Okay.
Timer.
We are going also to explain how we did the sablé. We are not going to do the sablé in front of you. We already done it, but we are going to explain what is the sablé, why we did it in this kind of particular way. In the recipe, you have flour. You have also buckwheat. What is buckwheat? Buckwheat is a normal flour. Normally is a free from flour, so means is a free from gluten. But really be careful. Just double check on the packaging, because depending which mill they're gonna be grain and blades, it could be some contamination between other flour. Just to make it a little bit more lighter. We have also the plant-based butter, castor sugar, plain flour, buckwheat flour, ground almond, egg white, and salt. Egg yolk. In this particular case, we're going to do a creamy method. What is a creamy method? We want to make the butter soft and mix with the sugar. When we have a nice creamy, and we have also something like a cream texture, we can start to add. It's really important to know add the eggs really straight away out from the fridge. Leave a little bit at the room temperature. In this case, you have a nice emulsion between the butter and the eggs. After that, you can see the flour, the butter flour, and the salt together. Sieve it. You can add the ground almond. You can do the incorporation on 3 times, mixing the dry ingredients together. Like this, we are not developing too much gluten strength. We don't want any gluten strength. We want crunchy, something crunchy and soft. We have here already made.
Recipe works really well if you want to use gluten-free flour. Just you keep the buckwheat the same, gluten-free flour blend. The gluten-free product. Plant-based program, because it's got a nice texture, and it works really well. It's all for making little crunch to our texture of our flavor profile.
As soon as you finish to do the sablé, leave the sablé to rest, please, for at least half an hour. This is going to make the mix come together. And you are able to roll it out at 2 millimeter thick. Cut with the cutter. We're going to bake this one between 2 air mat tray. Why we are going to bake this one between 2 air mat? This one, they create a nice things. This one, we have a lot of space. The air can go through, and it's gonna create. It's gonna make this one much more homogeneous. So we're gonna have our baking completely fine all over.
So these are also perforated baking mats. Okay, so if you look on, Most professional chefs will use them because it cuts out processes. In the olden days, when you're doing something like this, and then another tray with paper on top of it to keep ones. The steam that blisters. So either. And they'll be lovely and flat. That's all the.
Yeah.
That's what comes up. A sablé, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so a sablé is high. And it's
Yeah.
shortbread extra on the mouth.
Yes. Yeah.
We're using a vegetable margarine.
Yeah.
Again, if you were depending on what you're making with it, you either need to find a plant-based butter that's high fat, about 80%. No, we can do. You could do. We've used. You can turn it completely plant-based. So. Remember, the flax will give you some. The least resistant. My fridge, that's what's going. Panna cotta, and a lovely. Sorry.
Yeah. No problem at all. We need to put this one on the air mat. We're gonna put another one just to, as chef said, to not make a bubble and to keep this one completely flat. We cannot put this one inside the oven now because the oven is at 180 degrees. We're gonna bake this one at 165, and because the thickness is not a lot, we can bake around between 7 and 9 minutes. We can see which oven you have at home.
So, chef, there's one that's baked on that tray.
Yes.
You want to show the baked salmon?
Yes. We have here also the one we already baked. And you can see they are completely flat. They're really crunchy.
You want to pass those around? Just like half of that.
Yeah. Yeah, all good. Thank you so much. Let me move myself.
On a baking mat. Did he do that? He put it on a baking tray. Yeah, so all thick, so that when the steam's created, it goes under the mat rather than pushing the. Because if you have a solid baking tray,
Let me
that's
take
in
out this stuff from here.
it's just between the pastry and the baking mat, and it can't go anywhere unless you put holes in it. Then it. Chef's ready now. Go on.
Yeah, the corn is ready. Okay, so I'm back. I'm back with my recipe calculation again. Oh, no, so now it's for the yuzu mousse. You got the recipe, yeah, we have got more details in my document, but so
Double check, chef.
this yuzu mousse, it's quite challenging actually.
Do you want the lemon one, chef?
There are only 6% sugar in the recipe. If you find it too acidic, because it's yuzu, the amount of sugar in the recipe. I tried to challenge the recipe and to put as less as sugar as I could. So it's quite acidic flavor actually. You get a lot of flavor for the sugar. It's quite strong. Oui? Do I need this? Okay. Okay, so quick look at the recipe because this is what we are going to learn, what we are going to try to understand. So in this recipe, basically, I divide this recipe in 3 parts. When I do my calculation, I've got the gelation part, so the setting part of the recipe. I've got my emulsion part, so I've got my gelation, my emulsion, and I've got my aeration part, okay? So for a mousse, usually the aeration is around 20%, okay? So basically, all the ingredients, all the components coming in the criteria aeration need to give me 20% of the recipe. The gelation for the mousse, we're gonna stick to 1 to 1.5%. Can be a little bit increased depending of the acidity, depending on the pH. Again, I'm using gelatin powder. You can notice a large amount of water in this recipe. Voilà, just because, voilà, like I said, the yuzu is quite acidic. I'm just making a yuzu mousse. I could make a cocktail. Huh? I could blend different mousse, but I just want to stay. I just want to stay yuzu. So I'm adding a little bit water into the recipe in order to cut it a bit the acidity and to not be too strong. Okay, so yuzu. The D of this recipe is around 31%. Between 30 to 35%, we are okay. We should make a stable mousse in general. Huh? Okay, so I'm working for this recipe still with flexi fiber actually. So that one. So the same as before, as usual, to bind and to thicken the first batch here. So this recipe mousse is in a aeration part, okay? So it's a meringue. So I'm not allowed to use any cream today to get my aeration. But I'm using white eggs today to get the aeration. I could use, if I wanted to do a vegan mousse, I could use potato protein or aquafaba and make it protein. Okay. So today, this part is my meringue. The amount of water, I'm going to take a tiny amount of water, and I'm going to use this water to dissolve my sugar. Alors, if you look at the recipe, I say 6%, we have 12% sugar, sorry. So you got 2 times sugar, so which are exactly the same amount, okay? So 1 part of the sugar goes in a small pan, and I'm going to make an Italian meringue. So in Italian meringue, you cook your sugar, you pour your sugar on your white eggs for the aeration. Why Italian meringue? Because we cook a little bit more the white egg, so it's a bit more safe for your customer. So in general, we don't do a French meringue, we go for an Italian meringue because we have a little bit a heat process. It's a little bit more safe in general. I'm using also actually white eggs, pasteurized white eggs. Okay. Alors, at home, no problem. Hein? You can use your fresh eggs, no problem. But in general, in business, voilà, again, nowadays we work a lot with pasteurized yolk eggs or pasteurized white eggs. So I'm using pasteurized white eggs for this meringue. Do you want to speak about your biscuit, Marco? Yeah. Yeah. So we touch a nice color. Yeah. When you press on it, you can see that basically when I press that with my finger, the biscuit is coming up like this. That means good indication that means it's baked for today. Yeah. Yes.
Smells good.
Okay, so Italian meringue. Here I need to cook the sugar. So I've got the syrup, water, and sugar. I'm going to cook this sugar syrup at 118 degrees, 118 precisely. Okay. Then I'm going to pour the sugar on my already foamy white eggs in order to get my aeration today. Okay. So as usual, you might know it, but voilà, when you cook the sugar, you start slowly to dissolve nicely the sugar crystals. Then after, you can increase the stove and to have a faster cooking. It's a tiny quantity today actually for this mousse. The quantity is small, so it's never easy to work with tiny quantity like this. I will not go for a lowest quantity than this to get a good result actually. I would recommend this quantity. Lower quantity might be a little bit difficult to combine everything. But you can whip your meringue by hand, no problem. No problem. All right, okay. Okay, so I'm going to control the sugar, 118. I got a foamy meringue. And here, the remaining of the water, you remember, I put a little water to dissolve my sugar. The remaining of the water goes with the yuzu, okay? A lot, wow. It's gonna be stable, this mousse? Well, let's see, huh? Oh, it's a lot of water, okay? So let's bind a little bit this water with the fibers. So once again, flaxseed fibers, could be citrus fiber or two, okay. I combine the fiber with the second part of my sugar. And I'm going to blend, as usual, the fibers with the puree, with the liquid. I still got my magic blender. We see it's quite, there's a lot of liquid in this mousse, which make it very, you need to be very careful with the mix. I'm going to show you the mix later. but you get a lovely bubble. It's nicely aerated. I didn't go for an easy process. Okay, I try to show you the difficult one. Okay. Once again, I've got the gelatin mass, so you know the tiny amount of water with the gelatin powder. So usually, we prepare the gelatin mass. We do a big quantity, and we pick up what we need after to add in a recipe. Yeah? Okay. Okay, my sugar 118, chef. Be careful, chef. 118. What I'm going to do is, because it's a tiny amount, I'm going to mix first by hand. Do you have a whisk? Yeah, here I have a whisk. No, I have a whisk. I'm going to add my sugar little by little on my meringue. I do it by hand just because it's more convenient to pour it into my mixing bowl. Voila, because I didn't work too much, so I'm full of energy too. Voila. All right, I'm going to put every sugar, so I'm going to heat the pan, put every sugar into this recipe. So you got your meringue. Huh? Still a little bit soft to pick. I'm going to whip a little bit more of this meringue. And tiny drops. We don't waste anything. I mean, we calculate the recipe gram per gram. So try to scrape well everything to add every component inside. I'm going to finish to whip gently this Italian meringue. Very low speed actually, because I still need a little bit time to process everything else. So I don't want to over whip this meringue. I want to thicken the meringue little by little. So it's important for me to not be too fast and to get it lumpy. To split the bubble, I want to keep nicely the bubble strong enough. Okay, so voila, 2 more ingredients. That's it. Not too many ingredients. Huh? We've got mainly fruit inside, basically. The coconut. Coconut again. I love to work with coconut. I'm gonna melt the coconut, the fat.
So, just while Chef John's melting his coconut fat, we're passing around the dacquoise that was cooked. Obviously, there are nuts in it, so if you're allergic to nuts, don't eat it. It also has flour, so that's your allergens in this. So just please be careful. It is still warm, so it's quite chewy, okay? But as it cools, it's going to become crisper. Did everyone get some at the back? No, still coming. Just go and Chef, please. See if there's any extras going around.
We need just a medium bowl of round bottom. Okay. What is the magic number for the coconut? 27. Huh? Forgot. Or a little bit below, 27, 25. Okay, so as usual, I dissolve the coconut with my gelatin. It could be a little bit different process. I could add the gelatin into the juice. Eventually wait for the pectin to set a little and add the coconut. But I do a very easy process. I don't want to change the process compared to the previous one. So here I dissolve the coconut. I'm going to add my gelatin. Going to check the temperature of 27, and we are going to combine everything. Okay, the gelatin. Once again, no milk, no cream, no butter. So we go straight to the yuzu. Very clean taste. Only the fruit, mainly. Well, just need to be careful to whip gently your meringue to keep it nicely shiny and smooth. You don't want to over whip your meringue. You don't want to break your bubble inside. Okay, you don't want to split this meringue. So, voila, gently, it's getting firm. Okay, what temperature we have? Okay. All right, yes. Okay, so here I've got yuzu and water. Here my coconut and gelatin, and ideally 27. Still too high, but I've got a water bath somewhere actually where I can cool down eventually very fast. Oh, I've got a water bath somewhere. No, here. Yeah. Would you mind to give me a few ice cubes? Thank you so much. Beautiful. You lose a little bit. You have a kind of funny texture when you mix the gelatin with the fat because you basically it's water with fat, so you lose the emulsion. That doesn't matter. We get back the emulsion later. Voilà, 27, chef. Still high, chef. A little bit less. Let's speed up with water bath. Yeah, you don't want to be too low because the butter, the coconut set too fast. And if you are too high, but you have to wait also. When you combine your meringue with a too hot filling, you might melt your meringue. So that's why you need to go down in temperature. Temperature in pastry are very important in general, especially for emulsion. Yeah, nearly there, 28. Okay, so I'm going to combine the fat gelatin to the liquid, to my liquid here. And I need a strong blending to emulsify everything, okay? Because I've got a lot of water with fat, so strong blending, a stronger blending with the mixer to make your emulsion is required.
So as we said at the beginning, sorry, you got a question? Go on. The gelatin leaves? For us, it's really,
Convenient.
yeah, it's more convenient than anything else. You could use the same weight in leaf. That would work. Are you using fish gelatin, chef, or powder? Sorry, chef? Chef Jean?
Oh, sorry,
Fish.
it's very noisy around. Yeah.
Are you using fish gelatin or just
fish
powder?
Gelatin today. Fish
Yep.
gelatin, yes. If you use pork gelatin, it's the same ratio. You can actually do the same ratio.
Agar.
Sorry.
The question is, can you do it with agar as well?
Sorry.
With agar as well.
Alors, agar, it's gonna make it a little bit too firm. You know, agar make a very strong gel. So for this kind of texture, it might be too set. It might be too firm. Usually we go for more pectin and gelatin in general. Yeah. Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a brand. The brand calls it that. So it's already the flaxseed fiber is already powdered and dehydrated. So if you can't get that brand, then you make your own and you use it as a liquid. It works the same. It's that mouthfeel more than anything else.
Okay, so same again. I control the temperature of the fat. I mean of the liquid, basically now. Still, I need to be below 27. Voila, just okay. And now we can focus on this meringue. We can have a look. Up. Okay, that's good meringue. Huh? Nicely
Yes, so
baked.
go on. Question about why there's paper in the bain marie. So
Yes.
it's just to prevent to metal contact. Using induction, it gets very hot, and we wanted to have just to stop metal to metal contact in the pan. You could use a J cloth if you had it, but we have an abundance of blue paper.
Just a safety precaution.
Yeah.
All right, so what I do usually is to adjust a little bit the texture by hand. Like I said, well, the machine is convenient, but I was very careful with the machine. So usually now I'm gonna add a little bit, a last check for me by hand, confirming, yeah, thank you so much. Confirming it's, voila, I need something firm, huh? There's a lot of liquid to add in this, huh? A lot. So I need something very firm. Yes. Okay, and now I need to combine the liquid softly with my meringue. And this is where you need to be very delicate today. You need to add a lot of love in your mousse. Can you help me? Yes, please. Because basically, I'm going to add the liquid very little by little on the meringue. Very little, chef. Yeah, thank you, Marco. Voila.
So in the olden days, when I was trained, if you were using gelatin, you were always taught to achieve setting point with the gelatin, seeing that thing, and then when you put your meringue into it, it doesn't deflate all the air pockets. So with the new technology, with the new ingredient technology, by using fiber, it is much easier to avoid oversetting, deflating those air pockets. So this is the new way of making mousses. It's much quicker. It might not seem it sometimes, but it is much quicker. And there's very little risk really that something's going to happen and it's not going to work. So we don't say things are idiot proof here because it's really not. And I don't want to test that with any of our students, but it does negate a lot of issues that you come across in a traditional recipe for mousse with lots of fat in it.
So I'm not going to be too innovative for the chef today. I leave it to Chef Julie to be innovative later. So here, it's a very classic mousse ring. That's a 4 cm diameter mousse ring. For my assembly, I just add a little thin film at the base because I don't want the mousse to leak underneath. Okay, so voila, classic mousse ring, 4 cm diameter with cling film for the assembly today.
So by using the cling film, it enables you to use a fairly liquid mousse in a ring, in a cookie cutter even, if you don't have a ring. And you don't have to worry about any leakage because the cling film is there to stop anything from seeping underneath. It also gives you a lovely, really flat bottom. So you invert it and use it the other way up. So you've got a super flat top surface. So I'm going to use that as well. I'm going to make something in a minute, and we're going to use the same technique but on a different shape mold. So we just cling film it and then usually just flash it in the oven, just hold it in a hot oven so that the cling film tightens up. And then you're good to go. It will set instantly.
How you see how I am delicate with this. So little by little, very gently. I'm nearly there. But I'm not rushing. Eventually, sometimes I just.
Oh my God.
It's all right. We're gonna get it back. Maybe there was too much in the recipe. We're not 100 in the fridge anyway. Yeah. So, bon, let's say we have a little bit less liquid today in the recipe. Voilà. Okay. The problem is a little bit gelatin. Huh?
We won't use these ones.
No. Okay. Well, anyway, you understood the fact that we need to be very careful, very slow with this. Don't be clumsy. Voila. And now we are going to pipe this mousse. Usually I don't do that in demo. Huh? Where are my students? Here, you confirm, huh? You confirm? Voilà, okay. Sometimes. Well, it's a little bit liquid, but I mean, you understood the way to do it. Okay, so you remember the biscuit that Marco has done previously? Normally I cut a small disc with this biscuit just to fit inside the 4 cm diameter ring. So slightly smaller than the 4 cm, let's say a 3 cm diameter, 3 cm disc here. All right, but for the base today, and I'm going to pipe the mousse. It's very light mousse. So I'm not going to fill it entirely, basically the age of this will be around 4 cm, maybe 4.5 cm today for this assembly. And you remember the crema that we've done previously? Which is here. So it's nicely set now. So I'm going to add this crema in the center. Yeah. So it's classic process for the assembly. The technique is more in a mousse process actually. And a little bit more mousse on top. Here we go. And the biscuit to close. Et voilà, c'est fini. It's done. So now we need to go to the freezer to be nicely frozen before to demold and to continue. Okay. I've done something else that I prepared. Not yet, Chef Julie. For once, I can speak. I filled the mold, a silicone mold, which is a little bit half sphere mold. So it's a different shape than this one. It's a little bit deeper for the shape. It's 2.5 cm. Ooh! Oh, décidément, so it's me. Voilà, it's another silicone mold. Very tricky to remove from the silicone, as you could see. And this mold will be on the top later. Okay. Voilà. But today is funny, huh? Voilà, okay. Voilà. Okay, allez, I've done enough mistake today. You can take over, Chef.
Okay, so Chef John's been
That's it.
not what I needed. I hate this one. I can't do it on.
Okay.
Check it's so thick. Come on. Okay, right, we're on. Good. Okay, so Chef John has been showing you how to reduce dairy in his mousse and his crema. We've looked at a traditional dacquoise recipe. So what we're going to do now is we're using a few interesting ingredients that we introduced into our program. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a wildflower veil. Okay, so a veil is a semi-set gel which is flexible. So we're going to make that first. I've infused mine ahead of time because we need to take our grapefruit. So I'm using grapefruit and lemon, And I'm using apple juice as my medium, but I could use water or I could use puree if I wanted to. Into that, I've used the seeds of a vanilla bean, and I'm using some timu pepper, which I can't find. I need to show you the pot. Where's it gone, chef? Where's my pepper gone? We'll find it and come back, okay? So it's an Indonesian pepper. It's quite citrusy, works quite nicely with other citrus flavors, but it can be quite hot. So you need to just be careful. So what I've done is my timot pepper is in here. You can kind of see it floating around in the bottom there. What I've done is I toasted that. So I put that first in the pan, okay? And I toasted it until it was fragrant. And then I squashed it. So I used the end of a spoon and I just broke it. Then I put my juice in and I put my purees in and I brought it back to the boil. Then cling film and leave it for half an hour. So this is quite punchy now because it's been sat a little while, but a little bit longer than I'd like. But it is good. It's fine. So I'm just going to sieve that out. And we can see all the flavorings in there. And I don't know if you want to pass that around. The smell is quite, it's lovely. It's nice and citrusy. It's a little bit of spice, not too much, hopefully. You're not going to pass it around, Jeff? Yes, Chef. Oh, he is. Okay, just checking. Just checking. The way things are going tonight, it could be something else going on entirely. I'm going to add a little water to that, okay, just to adjust the strength, because this has sat a little bit longer than I wanted it to. So I'm adjusting the strength. With water or apple juice. I like apple juice, actually. I think apple juice works quite nicely in this. And then I'm going to be adding my thickeners, okay? So this is sometimes done with agar-agar. It works. But as we said earlier, agar-agar is quite snappy and inflexible. So we're using a combination of the kappa carrageenan. Okay, so carrageenan is a gelling agent made with seaweeds. Okay, there's lots of different ones. There's 3 different ones, and locust bean gum. Okay, so again, I like locust bean gum. It's got good strength without being chewy. So I'm using very small amounts, very, very small amounts. So this is our timur pepper. Okay, so they call it timur berries. I'm not going to throw it all over the floor, Chef. It's expensive. But they look very much like black peppercorns. But if you want to pass those round, if you wouldn't mind, they are quite punchy. I'll take the lid back when we finish. Otherwise, I'll throw it all over the floor. So we're just going to heat up our infused purees. And then I've got my carrying medium. So I've got a little bit of sugar. I've got my kappa carrageenan, and I've got my locust bean gum. So whenever you're adding these gums to a mixture, you always want to have a sugar carrier, because then it's less concentrated. It's much easier for when you're adding it in. So I'm going to leave those there. I have my ring prepared, as we did earlier. Okay, and I'm going to add a touch of pink colour, just because we're going to make a nice girly entremet, Chef.
You are the boss.
I am. Is it? We've had Mother's Day already. I should know. Okay, so once this is hot, I just pop my finger in. It's not boiling. I'm just going to add that in nice and slowly. And you guys are very lucky. I went out this morning at 4:30 and picked my organic roses and violas out my garden for this. I'm not lying. I'm not lying, because Chef found the spider when I turned it out the back. But I have edible roses in my garden and violas and things like that I like to candy them and keep them for wedding cakes and things. So I'm just going to add that in. I'm giving it a minute. I'm slowly bringing it back up to the boil. And while it's doing its thing, I'm going to add just a little bit of colour just to take that edge off. Again, if you're using puree, your colour will already be there. Oh, that's it. I don't want Barbie pink. That's a little bit too far for Chef from Francois. But not do that. So I've gone to a nice pale pink. Pale and interesting. Okay, just give that a bit more heat while I get my flowers. So in case you don't believe me, there are my flowers from my garden this morning. So I pop those in a dehydrator. Obviously, give them a good shake first. And I've got my little violas. I've got my lovely, my David Austin roses. And not name dropping. but I like roses just in case you're thinking of birthdays or anything. Yeah. So I've taken those and I've crushed them up, and I've had just a couple of blue cornflowers because I think the blue gives a really nice, interesting look. Okay, I'm just going to give that a second. I like to let mine sit for just a minute or two, just so the foam settles. And obviously it doesn't melt my plastic because that's not good either. In a very low oven. We have dehydrators that we use, and this is about 60 degrees for 2 hours. Yeah, these were fresh this morning and nice and crunchy. It's good for what we're doing. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is pour a nice thin layer of this onto my cling film prepared tray. Not too deep, it's about 2 millimeters deep. It's a bit thinner in the middle. And then just add on a sprinkling of my flowers. And then within a minute or two, that's going to start thickening up. Just add a little bit more. So it starts to set from the sides. You don't need to put it in the fridge. It sets very quickly at room temperature. Ooh, sorry. Oh, I didn't. I caught it. My cat-like reflexes, chef. I'll put those in there because I have no flowers in my garden now, so I need to look at these instead. Okay, so once this is chilled, once this is set actually, we're going to pop it in the fridge, and we need to leave that a couple of hours in the fridge. Now, which fridge has my thing gone into? Where are we? There we are. See that one? Cool. Okay. So this is one we made this morning. You can tell the colours are a little bit different. So this is what it looks like once it sets. Okay, it's nice and pretty and girly. So I'm just going to cut out using a little cookie cutter, and then hopefully I'll be able to get it off the tray. That's the plan anyway. No, I've just moved it. That's warm. This bit isn't, hopefully. And then on your fingers, you're just going to turn it over. Just very gently. There's our gel. Just pop it onto a tray with paper so it doesn't stick. And we just definitely don't want to freeze this. Keep it chilled, but not frozen. Another one. Okay. So this is the first part of our decoration. This is the girly part. Come on, there we go. And it's lovely and flexible, and it stays flexible, doesn't dry out. Okay, so while that's back in the fridge, the next part, we're going to show you how to make your plates look pretty. Whoop. And this is part of the innovation part of our program. We use innovation not only with ingredients, but also with equipment. So on the program, we have lots of different types of equipment, but one of the most popular ones is our cry cut machine, which is this one here. So Chef is going to explain what this is going to do. Please don't drop it. We won't get another one.
We have our machine here. Some of the students are using this one for the stencil. This one is useful nowadays in a because we can personalize every single request we can have from the customer. Especially in the company, we can do the logo, we can do some of the leaf flower. And what the machine does is cutting the, you can choose whatever layer you want for the plastic we have here. We have something with thin, something to be more thick. You can use for the stencil, you can use just for decoration, just to brush it. And you can do whatever design you want. Just pick up on the internet, upload in the program, and the machine is going to cut for you. We have here some example. You can see the machine can cut, this one can cut at least 5 millimeters thick. So you can cut also the cardboard boxes. But as you can see, we have a nice design. You can do
Also, something a little bit more classic. If you want to do this kind of shape, is really good. And we have the black and white. Also, we have this one. We can dip this one in the chocolate, took it out, and we have a nice stencil also for the chocolate. And all this kind of operation, the guys they choose their own design. They can do their own stencil. Yeah.
Very good. So here's one. Here's one we've butchered a little bit. So chef cut this afternoon, and I've just added some flexible plastic on it. So I'm going to use this to decorate my plate, and I want to keep my plate clean. So I hate cleaning plates. So what I'm going to do is to add a dust to this. So I have freeze-dried strawberries because our theme is strawberry and lemon. I have the freeze-dried strawberries, and I have put them in a robo-pook, so they're very fine powder. And then to that, I've put that into a little muslin cloth like this. So it's a super fine powder coming out, hopefully, unless it's set. No, it's still coming out. That's good. That's a good one. And I've got my very glamorous brush. I'm not lying. It is a makeup brush, but I haven't used it, I promise. That's not blusher. That is the puree. Okay, and I keep it cling film because I keep this in my locker because I use it for all kinds of things. So I don't want anyone else using my beautiful makeup brush, John. You're not going to use my makeup brush, you promise? Okay, so I'm just going to heat a little bit of, you need something sticky, okay? And the sticky could be anything. So it could be a little bit of honey. It could be a little bit of jam, okay, which is what I'm using here, is a little bit of apricot jam. I've just put a little bit of water in it. I'm just warming it together. I don't want it to boil, but I just need it to be sort of semi-sticky. Sticky, sticky, sticky. Okay, so we've got sticky now. I added just a touch of water to it. I've decided what plate I'm going to use. I'm going to do this one first. If this doesn't work, I'm going to use the next one. We're going to put our guard over the top. So my lovely stencil that was cut on the pre-cut machine, and then I've got my plastic guard. So the plastic is just around the edge, just to mask the edge of that plate, so I don't have to clean it. I've already cleaned it. And then we've got a little bit of our gel, and then we're going to hold this down. Need to make sure it's in the center. Hold it down and just dab. And obviously, the more intricate the design, the more chance there is that this is going to smudge. You just need to put a little pressure on it. You can get these pre-cut. You get them in like it's like a flexible silicone, and it's got some weight to it. So when you put it on the plate, it just holds it flat. But if you don't have that, the pre-cut machine's great. You can personalize this, you know, maybe get the pre-cut to cut out happy birthday or whatever you want. So this is to make truly bespoke products, and that's what our Pâtisserie Innovation program is all about, is being bespoke and having a one-of-a-kind product. Okay, that's enough of that. Okay, and then fingers on again. So this is just a muslin cloth. It's just to really make sure I'm getting in all of the crevices without moving it. And of course, we've done this a few times today, so the other ones might be better than this one. And if that's the case, we're going to use those instead. Just going to go over, make sure I've got, oh, no, 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 don't move, don't move, don't move. Make sure I've got enough. Okay. Okay. Shall I do another one, or shall I call it quits? You can try another one if you want to. No, okay. You can let Marco do another one. He'd love to do another one. No? Yes, Marco would love to do another one. Let him go for it. Right, so you can jump down there. You can do it there, Chef. Yes. I'll let you.
I will do.
And you can borrow my makeup brush, but I want it back. I want it back. All right, so once we've got our plate ready, we can start building our dessert. Oop. Thank you. So, which mousse am I using, Chef? Have you got a nice one for me?
So that's one. The problem might not be perfectly set
Ah,
because we miss a little bit gelatin.
can I have the frozen one then?
And also because it needs a little bit time to
Oh.
freeze and to a little bit soft automatically after.
Right, okay.
Sorry, Chef, be careful. So normally
I'm not going to
after,
drop it.
Voilà, we remove the cling film. We just warm with the blowtorch. We demold
Don't
basically.
put it there.
And we've got one already demolded. Just don't worry, we don't have enough gelatin in this one, so we got one already.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get a little chopping board. Okay, yeah, just bring.
Remember the small balls, but I think you dropped the small ball.
The one you dropped on the floor, yeah? That
No,
one.
on the floor.
Okay, so what we're going to do is just finish this off. It looks a bit plain like that, so what I'm going to do is add a little bit of strawberry underneath. So just slide you off. Come here, that's it. My strawberries, I'm using these lovely, very expensive strawberries. What was the brand on these ones, Chef? Gariguette. So you can get them here, but they're expensive.
A little bit acidic for today, but they have a nice flavor.
So what we're going to do is we just cut it, and in restaurants and hotels, consistency is key. So the chefs would take the time to just even up their pieces using a little cutter. Okay, so that every piece they put on is the same size. So I'm just going to do that here. We've got it on tissue just to drain off any juice, because we really don't want the juice seeping out everywhere. We're just overlapping it slightly all the way around. You usually get about 5 pieces on. Oops. Maybe 6. Let's do 6. That's nice. I'm going to put the little ball on top. Okay, so next we have our little sablé disc that Chef Marco made. So I'm just going to pop this over here. In fact, I can get rid of that one. I don't need that anymore. Just pick one that's nice and flat. Just going to add a little bit of that gel, just so it doesn't move. That's all right, yeah. And then I'm going to put this down. I'm just going to put it down at the tail of the design so that I'm just a little bit off center. Tissue. Pop this on top. And then just to clean up the bottom edge, because the bottom edge is a little untidy, we're going to place a little chocolate hoop. So this is a strawberry inspiration chocolate, which we've tempered. We've used a little bit of gold with it, and we're going to wrap that at the base. So this is my presentation side. So I'm going to have the join at the back. This is, as we said, it's a tempered chocolate. There's lots of different products you can do with tempered chocolate. And we have short courses to learn how to temper. Our superior students should be proficient at tempering. It's one of the skills we would expect. Okay, and then we're going to go on top. Got my little bit of a sauce here. This is just a bit of wild strawberry puree with a touch of sugar added to it, just because it's quite sour. Got scissors, thank you. going to add a couple of little highlight dots. So all the way through the program, the students learn to plate with elegance. Chef John teases me because he says I'm very girly. Not girly. Hate pink. Hate pink. Well, in a good way. I'll take it. All right. And I'm going to use our gel. Let's see, which one should we have? Let's have this. Yeah. Take you. You'll do. Yeah. There's my veil, nice and floppy. And lay that across the top. So it molds itself to the shape. Just going to pick this bit up a bit. It's got a nice little texture to it. And then finally, just a couple of blue cornflowers to make it pop. I don't have these in my garden. These are fresh from our supplier. I'm going to try growing them though. They look nice. Okay. Anything else I've missed? Is that it? Twirl? No. Well, this is the first step. This is the first step. So this is our citrus garden with our lemon. Sorry, what was it? Lemon mousse, exotic fruit, creamy, sablé, dacquoise, and our veil, our sugar veil, with our stencil on the plate. We have another extra additional, but you might want to look at that first. Do you want to show the twirl or not? Let's get the samples out, and then while you're having the samples, we can do the twirl. Yes. Yes, of course. Yeah, yeah. Let me just move this stuff out of the way.
Well, we'll prepare some tasters for you. All right. If you want to have this. It's freeze-dried raspberries that are crushed. That's it. So it's nice, eh? Yeah, it's really nice, and it works very well with. You're going to taste it in a minute, so you'll see. Hi, yeah, you all right? I'm all right. You? It's been a long day.
Yes.
I'm good. You okay? It's nice to see you again. Still alive, yeah, same as me. Yeah. Yeah. Straight from my garden. There is nothing fresher. The tastings are just coming. They've got them plated for you. Yeah. We're giving you a whole one using the same bits.
Well, it's good to know, like,
You can taste. This is still frozen though. You can taste it if you want to. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if it's, you can buy classified organic roses. So I have a rose bush. It was organic when I bought it, and I've never used pesticides. So I have it in a growing bed. So
There's two types.
there are. So I've got I can't even remember who it was. It was by David Austin, but I can't remember the name of it. It's been there about 20 years. But I nearly lost it a couple of years ago, but it's fine. It kind of worked its magic. So. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. I've been doing this a while. Yeah.
So it was set and then it was frozen?
We chilled it and then we popped it in the freezer to demold it. It's easier frozen.
That was the only thing that was frozen.
Yep. Yep.
What's the best substitute for sugar? A lot of people ask.
It depends what you're doing. It really depends what you're doing.
Oh, okay, I have to do it like I can use the same amount in the recipe.
No, because different sugars have different strengths.
Okay.
So it's something we teach on the course is that you have to anticipate what it is you're doing. Sorry, we're just jumping. Here. I thought Nick had plated it already. Okay, plates are there. They're there on the other side. Let's pop those down.
Yeah, of course. Which one is?
It's
I'm
the
interested
the Pâtisserie Innovation. We talk about it. We have a nutrition course as well that they talk about it. It depends if you're interested in nutrition. Not all sugars are the same. They have a different strength, sweetening power. So if you took one like a caster sugar, which is about an 85% sweetening power, and that's the strength of the sweetness you get from it, and you substitute it with something like isomalt. Isomalt is 1,000 times more sweet than sugar. So you could make a sugar-free dessert using isomalt.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I've got a lot of customers and they start asking, diabetics,
Yeah. I mean, you have to be careful with the isomalt because too much of it is not good for you. It'll give you stomach intestines issues. But it's one of the things. People like Ricola that sell sugar-free candy. They use isomalt all the time. Can we have one of these down the other end? Sorry, I'm just gonna. Oh.
Thank you.
Okay, if you give me one tray down here, I'll plate this end as well. Yeah, just be careful. Try and keep away from the plate so that everyone's got pictures. That's it. Thank you. There are spoons on the end there if you want a spoon, or you can pick it up and bite it. It's up to you. We lost Chef John. It's disappointing. Oh, is there more?
Yeah. You got 2 more. 1.5.
Just push these forward. Oh, good.
Thank you.
That's it. Sorry. That's it. Chef Jean, can I have it here?
Chef, can I ask a stupid question?
No such thing.
I have all the ingredients, I have all the equipment. I
Yep.
start on my own to make 12 of these
Okay.
at say 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
With all the refrigeration and everything. How long?
Depends on your freezer and your fridge.
Okay.
A domestic freezer is probably going to be about 6 hours. We have blast freezers here, which go down to about -35, which are much faster than your home freezer.
You're right.
But the smart thing to do though is do it in stages and start the day before, make the creamy the day before, and then first thing in the morning make the mousse. Okay, assemble the mousse, pop it in the freezer, and then think about making the sablé and the dacquoise, because then it's going to cut your time. So you're not wasting time waiting for things to freeze.
Yeah, but you were doing other things.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Okay, you're welcome.
Really good, yeah.
Good questions, by the way. Nice questions. I like that.
Yeah. It's
I think we did more than we should.
it's been really
It's okay.
fun to
You're always welcome. Get to come
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's not going to appear on your final exam, is it?
for sure. No. Yeah, you're the one. You're the
I'm the one
one
grading it,
really-
so yeah, better not be.
Oh yeah, and grading.
Yes, why not? Yeah.
Is there access to these plates, or is it just plain white ones?
You can request them, yeah, on PRW for sure. Hi.
I like this.
Now why not?
If anybody wants another, we have some spares. You should take one. Take one. Take two. Put a couple on a plate and take them home.
I have a box downstairs. I'll bring it up.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll get it off. No.
Oh. We didn't need this in the end.
No? Did you try to stick it?
Oh, I can. But I didn't.
No.
I can. But they've got the recipe. They've got the recipe. I think I just need to get rid of this. Oh, I've broken it anyway. Good. The chocolate, this one or this one?
Oh, this square one.
Oh, it's the same thing. So we used plastic, like a flexible plastic, and use a clear alcohol with gold luster dust from a cake deck store. Brush it over, and then you temper your chocolate and put it on top. And then once it's touch dry, you cut it into squares.
Everything is so perfect.
Yeah, I mean it's just using a ruler and just straight lines.
How can you source these special ingredients like that?
Well, these are by a company called Sosa. We use Sosa a lot, and you can buy those. There's a company in the UK called Home Chocolate Factory that sell all their stuff. Yeah, or just Google Sosa and it will come up. Valrhona sell it, Home Chocolate Factory sell it. Quite a few places sell it. The only thing is you have to buy it in a litre container, which we tend to be a little bit more selective about what we use, and sometimes we choose not to use things because we don't need it. Are you okay? Do you want another one? Or yeah. There are spoons. There's one with a spoon here if you want it, or a fork.
Are you finished with it?
Yeah, I was just playing around with that because we were making our mind up right to the last minute because I was like, I'm going to get that right. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. So I'm going to take a picture, and then I've got a twill batter. This is just a twill, and I'm going to stick it behind, and so it looks like a picture frame. That's if it stays up, because it wasn't staying. I'm going to get the picture first, then I'll do it.
I can get the recipe for 100.
You okay?
Yes,
So
well done, chef.
for 100%.
Just need to get a. Hello. Of course. There we go. Yep. Okay. I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not sure. That would be something to, I guess, talk with our marketing department, maybe. We do have things like scholarships for sure, so it might be worth looking that way. Yeah. Okay. You're welcome. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to do a wrap-up speech or yeah? Okay.
All right, everybody. Should we give a round of applause to Chef Julie
And
Chef Rafa?
thank you.
And have a lovely weekend.
Can I give you more than one?
And if you want some round the floor.
No, I don't want to squash them.
But if you like to talk to the chef, please do so if you like to.